Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Secretary, for being here today. I want to go back to the issue you were discussing with the ranking member around tips. And I was struck by what you said, that you wouldn't frequent a restaurant or a place where management was taking the tips from tip workers. How would you know that was happening?
So in the era of Yelp and the internet, I think it would get out very quickly. And personally, I don't think many restaurants would do this because they'd lose their workers and they'd lose their customers.
Have you ever worked for tipped wage?
No, I have not.
Well, I think I have. And I can tell you that I doubt very much you would know, because there's a lot that goes on. But you're in a unique position to help, because the tip wage in 18 states is only $2.13. That's also the federal tipped wage. Excuse me. It's double the rate of poverty in states where that's the tip wage for working people who are working for tips. And if you're wait staff, that's over double. It's 18% when it's typically 7% for working people in poverty. So we're talking often about the working poor. So as you go through this in your role as secretary beyond Yelp, and you're looking at doing, I hope, a quantitative, since you found the qualitative not to be good enough as you go forward, what are your plans for assessing the impact on this? And if you are finding that it is not working out as you hope and that these tips are being pocketed, what is the plans for the labor?
So Congresswoman, if you'll allow me to answer and perhaps offer a fulsome answer, because I think with about 2 minutes, we'll get to a point where we might agree.
No, I have other questions, so we may have to go faster.
Well, I'll try to go fast. No one wants or believes that establishments should keep tips. In many ways, this is a fundamental issue of law. The 10th Circuit has struck down the prior regulation that was promulgated. The 9th Circuit has upheld it over a vigorous dissent, and this issue is now pending in the Supreme Court. And so the question is, has Congress authorized the Department of Labor to regulate in this space? And we can have a legal debate, which I don't want to have. But personally, I find the 10th Circuit decision persuasive. I believe that Congress has not authorized the department to fully regulate in this space.
So let me synthesize this so that we do come to some understanding on this. There is a split in the circuits on this, but is my understanding that your position is, now that you have put this in place, remove protections for tip workers, that you are not going to conduct any further analysis of this because you feel the 10th Circuit has blocked you from doing that?
If you'll allow me to finish. Can
you answer that question? Do you feel the 10th Circuit has blocked any further analysis of the impact of this rule?
If I will answer your questions if you allow me to finish.
Yes or no?
Ultimately, I've already said publicly that any final rule will have a quantitative analysis. I've invited the public to provide data for that quantitative analysis. But let me say this, there's a real simple solution to this, which is that this committee could simply legislate our authority to prohibit this. And so if we're all concerned about this, why don't we just add a simple sentence to the law that says that establishments, whether or not they take a tip credit, may not keep any portion of the tips. I don't know of a single person that would oppose a law that says that an establishment may not keep part of a tip.
So you would support us
100%
in a law that says, so you feel you are totally bound by the 10th Circuit right now?
Well, the Department of Justice would determine whether I'm totally bound. My personal view is I find the 10th Circuit persuasive.
Asking your view as Secretary of the Labor Department.
My personal view
is, would you support a law coming out of this Congress saying that tips belong exclusively to those who earn them?
Absolutely. OMB put that on the list of items to be looked at as part of the appropriations process, I believe, about a week ago. And so that's already been on the list that's been transmitted by OMB. And the point that I was trying to make that I think we can find agreement and problem solve on is no one wants this. This is a question of statutory authority. So I fully support a provision that says establishments should not be permitted to keep any portion of a tip.
But yet you're siding with the 10th Circuit and taking our entire policy in a different direction, which I am running out of time, so we can have this legal debate later on. But I think that we need some assurances from you, one, that you would support such a law, which you just gave, and two, that you will continue to conduct a robust analysis of the real impact, because this affects working people and their wages
Assured
in
and
a profound
assured.
way.
That what I've been trying to say is assured and assured, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.